Good afternoon. Slobby Sunday again. Although, like I said before, I'm always in my slobs, but Slobby Sunday it is. What? I've just brushed my hair and absolutely loads fell out. So I didn't put a bobble in as such, just put like a clip. But I'm not looking my best. Anyhow, are my glasses tinted? Well, they are tinted, but they normally only go in the sunshine. But you can see behind me, it is really, really sunny today. So November, where has the year gone? Well, mine's been spent mostly in my bed, feeling sorry for myself, watching videos and listening to singers. But hey ho. So today, it's walk day, isn't it? Where I normally wander up the shops. I'm not really feeling it today. So my husband said, should we just go in the car? But as I said previously, he's got quite a bad cold and he's staying away from me for a little while. So I said, no, I'm not getting in the car with you. I'm really fiddling with this. I'll settle in a minute. So I said, no, I'm not getting in the car with you. So off he trots outside to go to the shop to get the sausages and the rolls. Anyway, he comes back in. Car's dead as a dodo, flat battery. So that's not happening this morning. Luckily for us, we've got a Tesco's and a Sainsbury's, very local. And they call it a whoosh. And it's like a fast delivery. So we've ordered some sausages and some rolls. I should have walked really. Like I said, I've been trying to push myself to do that weekly walk, but I haven't had a great week. So I just wasn't feeling that this morning. So that's not happening. So I did say to you, I wanted to talk about extended family. So obviously, my mum's siblings. So my mum had two brothers and a sister living. Unfortunately, one of her brothers died when he was 10, with a brain tumour. So I never got to meet him. But I was very, very close to my aunts and uncles when I was growing up. So I've said before, there was just like sort of me and mum on our own for quite a long time. So we tended to spend Christmases and holidays and things with relatives. So yeah, so I was very close to extended family. So my mum's younger brother, he was 10 when I was born, so he's like a brother to me. We lived with my nan for quite a while, so he was just like a big brother, and I still feel that he's like my big brother. So yeah, that's my Uncle Paul, and he married my Auntie Lee, and they're so special to me. A few years back now, my uncle was diagnosed with a cancer, and he called me to tell me, and I just pulled up at work and he called me, so I answered. It was early in the morning. It was a bit weird to get a phone call from him, so I answered it and said, hi, what's up? And you sort of get that feeling, don't you, that there's something wrong. So anyway, he told me, and I literally broke in the car. I was devastated. And when I'd finished the telephone call, one of my colleagues walked past and said, "Are you okay?" And I said no. And my manager came down and he said, you know, "Get yourself together, come in and have a coffee and stuff, and just go," because he could see the devastation. I was just devastated. But let's, you know, everything went okay. Had an operation and chemotherapy and stuff, and yeah, he beat it. So that's brilliant. And so, but he was my mother's brother, but the devastation of that call was, I can't really explain it, because we are so close. And then my mum had another brother called Bob, my Uncle Bob, although I never ever called him Uncle Bob. I called him Auntie Bob, and his wife was my Uncle Patsy. And I got it wrong every single time I said it, and even when they both passed away, they were still Auntie Bob and Uncle Patsy, and I'd never change that. They were very, very good to my mum when she was on her own, and a lot of our Christmases were with them and their children, my cousins. Oh, sorry, I forgot to say, my Uncle Paul and Auntie Lee, they've got 2 sons that are my cousins. But because I feel like Uncle Paul's my brother, I've never really felt of them like cousins. And because they're younger in age, so they're the same age as my sister and my children, they sort of grew up as cousins with my children rather than being my cousins. Does that, I don't know if that makes sense. But the cousins I grew up with, so my Uncle Patsy and Auntie Bob, had Gary, Karen and Dean. Dean's my age, Karen's a little bit older, and Gary's the eldest. And we spent Christmases there a lot. And I remember they always had board games because there was 3 of them. So for Christmas they got board games, but I was an only child, so I never got board games. I got things that solo children do on their own. So I used to love going there Christmas and playing board games, because I never got to do that. And then when I went on to have children, I made it sort of a tradition that we got board games at Christmas so that everybody played together, because that reminded me of my childhood playing with my cousins. And then my mum's sister was my Auntie Eileen. She married my Uncle Brian, and they had 2 children, Brent and Tina, both older than me. Tina much closer in age to me, so I used to have sleepovers there, and you know, stay there with them. And I remember my cousin Tina's bedroom. She had, I think it was like an inflatable dolphin above her bed, but it petrified me. I was absolutely petrified of this blooming dolphin. But yeah, I just think you get such a lot from extended family. We're all still pretty close now, even though my Auntie Bob and Uncle Patsy and my Auntie Eileen and Uncle Brian have passed. We are quite close. I'm more closer to Karen, my cousin Karen, because I see her more, because her children were very close to my children, so they grew up as cousins, even though they're second cousins, but they grew up like cousins. And you know, they call me Auntie Lisa. Well, they call me Mad Auntie Lisa, to be honest. Although I'm not their auntie, but that's how it feels because of the closeness of the family. So yeah, I just think, you know, I had a lot of friendships and family when I was younger, and my children and their children had that too, which is really lovely. And you don't see each other all the time, of course you don't. It's really hard, and you know, everybody's got their own lives, nobody sort of lives on top of each other. My uncle Paul only lives 5-10 minutes drive from me, but it's just so difficult seeing people all the time. But when we meet, it's just, yeah, it's so lovely. But yeah, so we do have get-togethers. They're normally weddings and funerals, like most families. But they, you know, they can be nice times, because even though a funeral's sad, it's nice that you all get together again and, you know, remember things and have nice memories. So yeah, we don't get together that often. We do have a few parties. My cousin Gary is a big party man, so he holds quite a few parties, him and his wife Sue. And yeah, they're like, I don't know, the children all sort of grew up together, so they're all like cousins, and yeah, it's just nice when we all get together. And then I've got a cousin I've mentioned before, Leighton Buzzard. So that was my mum's cousin, is my Auntie Jean, and she had she married my uncle Carlo, who was Italian, very gorgeous, very tall, very gorgeous, very, oh yeah, just Italian. And they had 2 children, Lorraine and Stefano. I'm very, very close with Lorraine. I was really, really close with Stefano. But unfortunately, when he was 37, he contracted meningitis and lost the battle. But he's my guardian angel, and my uncle Carlo is my guardian angel too. A lot of people don't believe in like psychics and all that sort of thing, but I did go to a lady once, and I'd only just sat down, and she said, "Who are the 2 Italian men with you?" And I said, "Oh yeah, I know who they are." And she said, "They're with you all the time." So that's nice that I've got both my uncle Carlo and Steph, my cousin, looking after me all the time. So yeah, if you don't believe it, I get it, but how was she to know that I had 2 Italian men in my life, and you know, they were Italian men? So that's a lovely, lovely thing. So I was very close to those when I used to go in some holidays to Leighton Buzzard, and I used to spend a lot of time there. My nan was the most beautiful woman to have ever lived, and she held the family together just in the most perfect way. She was just, yeah, she was just a beautiful, beautiful woman. And it was her brother, my uncle Len. So my granddad passed away when I was 5. I'll go into that on another day, because there's a story behind his passing that's quite interesting. Bit might freak you out a little bit, but it's quite interesting. Anyway, so after my granddad died, my uncle Len, my nan's brother, was a big part of my life. So he was like a granddad to me, and he was very close to the family in Leighton Buzzard. So he was the one who used to drive us to Leighton Buzzard. So I can remember, so 6 years old on, my nan, my uncle Len, me, sometimes my mum, used to hop in the car. I think he had a Dolomite. It was a burgundy Dolomite, and Leighton Buzzard from where I live is probably an hour and a half away. And I think it used to take us about 3 and 4 hours, because he was like a dodgery old driver. But I used to love those trips, and I used to think Leighton Buzzard was a million miles away. And it was, you know, it was just nice. And it's a nice memory to have. And then, so yeah, just to have extended family, you don't have to see them all the time. You don't have to be in their pockets all the time, but they're very special to you. And each one of my cousins and aunts, uncles, all hold a very special place in my heart, because they're mine. So I was very lucky. I know there's a lot of people who grow up that don't have much contact with their families, and like I said, we don't see each other all the time, but then the memories are there. We did when I was younger, and you know, there's some great memories, and it's just lovely. So I'm very, very grateful that I had that in my life. And then I married Barry, and I got another part of an extended family. So it's your family grows, and I've been very, very lucky. I've spoken to people that don't get on with their husband's side of the family. I've been very, very lucky. They're all very, very beautiful people, and accepted me. When I met Baz, I'd got 2 of my children from my previous marriage, and that was difficult. I was only 22. Barry was only 22, and he'd met me, wanted to be with me, fell in love with me. Why wouldn't he? Anyway, so yeah, and I think the family were a little bit, oh, you know, you're doing the right thing, you're very, very young, and you're taking on 2 children that aren't your own. But love wins, doesn't it? And you know, my children and Barry were a perfect fit, to be honest. So yeah, so I had an extended family via Baz. So Baz's parents, we've only got his mum now. This year we lost his dad, but his dad was 92. Oh, I want to say 92, but I think he was 96. I can't remember. So since his passing is when I was diagnosed, and no one said anything about my diagnosis being like affecting your brain, but it has, because I forget stuff all the time. Anyway, he was I think he was 96. He was 96. He was definitely 96. So we lost him this year. I actually nursed him towards the end of his life, and I'm so glad I did that, because he was a lovely, lovely man. Very straightforward and to the point and quite brash. And when I first met Barry, I wasn't quite sure how to take him, but he was so funny and had so many stories. Obviously, that age, they're going to have stories to tell you. And towards the end of his life, when I was looking after him, he told me lots of stories, which was, you know, I'll never find them again. Like they're in my thoughts and memories and my heart now. But if I hadn't have spent that time with him, I wouldn't have had those stories and memories to keep. So that was very beautiful. Baz's mum is the most gorgeous woman. I say she talked to me. She didn't actually take to me. She acted like she'd talked to me. And she was very beautiful to me and my children during the years. But recently, she's opened up and said, wasn't really sure about you, you know, thought you were a bit cocksure of yourself, and yeah, didn't think you were right for my Baz, but now I love you. So that was quite funny for her to say. I always thought she liked me. She did like me, like that's not what she was saying, but I don't think she was too sure of me, and I've always been classed as the black sheep of the family. So Baz had a brother, Pete, and he married Debbie. They were married and had their 2 children, Amy and Ruth, before I was with Barry. So I sort of went into their family. So Christmases and Boxing Days and things, you know, we sort of spent together. Can't tell you how much I adore P and Deb. We lost Debbie. The good man upstairs seems to take a lot of people off me. People who are very special to me too. So when I do eventually go and see him myself, we're gonna have a little chat. Because Deb was she was just, I can't describe her because I'll get really emotional, because she was just the most beautiful person ever. Anyway, so she was a bit of a black sheep before I came along, and then I took over, and she used to giggle and laugh with me, and you know, she loved the fact that I took over the role of the black sheep, and I think they looked at me as a bit of a common old trout. Not in a bad way, not at all in a bad way, in a funny way. But I was very, you know, I am very common. I'm not posh. I'm not rich. I'm not, you know, I'm not anything like that. And I ain't got a barrier. So I sort of say what I say and be what I am. And they love me for it. But yeah, I think I was, you know, the odd one out of the family. But yeah, so again, Amy and Ruth, their children, they are the 2 most gorgeous nieces you could ever have. And they've grown up and they've got married. So Amy's married to Paul, and they've got 2 children now, 2 girls, Beatrix and Penny. And Ruth married Tony, and they've had a little boy called Wilf, and I'm really super close to them. So after we lost Debbie, Pete remarried. He's got a lovely wife called Jeanette. She's adorable, and we do meet up. So when we meet up and go for dinner and that, I just love her. She's just lovely. But Amy and Ruth and Paul and Tony they're so close. Like they're like a unit. And they're just lovely and brilliant hosts. So if they ever host anything, you know, you're getting the best food, you're getting the best drink, you're getting the best company. And yeah, so much fun. So that's another extended family that are dear to me and special, and people you make memories with, that I would never have had if I didn't meet Baz. And it's just like how your world grows unexpectedly, because I was an only child, but I had massive beautiful times with my extended family. Then I'm married, and then I have massive beautiful times with my extended family via my husband, and you know, your children all bond. And yeah, it's just, I'm lucky. I'm very lucky that I've got beautiful people around me. I haven't even finished, and I'm dribbling on. So Baz also got a little sister. So Baz's mum and dad had her quite later on in life. So she's precious, you know. She's like my sister. I think when years ago, people had children young, and then if they had them later on in life, the children were very precious. Whereas nowadays, a lot of people are having their children later in life. Every child's precious. I'm not saying children aren't precious, they are precious, but in those days when people were a little bit older and they had a child, it was just a big precious thing. So Baz's sister Rebecca, she married a chap called Nick, and they had a little boy called Milo. And you know, they're another part of my extended family. So we've been on holiday together with them, and we've had great like holidays. And you know, we've been with their parents, with Baz's parents, and Rebecca and Nick and the family. So we've been on holidays like that, but we've also been on holidays like just my family. So was it last year or the year before? We went to York, and it was just Rebnick, Milo, me, Barry, Sam and Hannah, and we just had a great time. And it's just lovely to have that bond with people you would have never met if the circumstances didn't let you. And we need to look at how your relationships build in your life. I'm well aware that there's people that don't have extended family or this huge network. I've got a big extended family, both my side and Baz's side. Like there's a lot of us, and I know that there's some people who don't have that at all, and there's some people who go through life very lonely, and don't have that. And I don't know if I'd be me without all of these people that input my life and have an impact on it. So, you know, I'm not trying to say anything, but if you have an extended family and you're close to them, you're going to build that wonderful, beautiful, heartfelt memories. I do understand that there's people as well that have extended families that just don't get on, and all I can say is, you know, that this great guy upstairs, obviously he deals me a lot of shit. He thinks these are very, very broad, these shoulders of mine, and he keeps piling crap on them. But he's also dealt me some wonderful people around me in my life, and I just want a big shout out to everyone in my family unit that are there, because, and you know, I'm just so grateful for having people around me in my life. And yeah, so I don't know what you're going to make of all this mumble jumble that I talk about, but I just want to talk about things that like mean a lot to me. And I don't know, you know, one day when I've passed away, hopefully very long time, but people might look at these videos and think, oh, you remember when she spoke about that? That was cute. Obviously people close to me, but you know, I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it because I just like rambling on. Like I've said in the past, I like to have a little chat. Don't have many people to chat with now, although I could ring any single one of these people and they'd all chat to me. So yeah, I've got to, before I go, I've got to do a massive shout out to my niece's husband, Tony. So Ruth's husband, Tony, because they've all been watching me, I think, and he said is that he wanted a 10-minute talk on just him. I'm not going to do your 10-minute talk, not today anyway, Tane. But I just want you to know you are so, so dear to me, and I love you loads. Anyway, so I'm going to end there. Sloppy Sunday again. Chilling out today. Hopefully my sausages will turn up from the shop and I can make them. And I'm going to make a nice heartwarming shepherd's pie for this evening's tea. So yeah, have a great weekend, what's left of it, everybody, and I should catch up with you in the week. Take care of you. Bye bye.